Battlefield 2042 was officially revealed yesterday, and the trailer has almost accumulated 10 million views already. The trailer shows everything amazing about Battlefield, from its only in Battlefield moments to all-out warfare. Before I get into the video, I'd like to say a massive amount of credit has to go to Westy and Jack Frags, whose videos on Battlefield 2042 have helped me piece together my own view on the game and this video. Before we talk Battlefield 2042, there is a backstory I'd like to go through so you guys fully understand the new game and its story modes. Battlefield 2042 is set in the year 2042, no surprises there. After years of tension, the world is on the brink of war. A period of 10 years was all it took for the world to crumble. Rising sea levels, collapsing economies, broken alliances drive the earth to near all-out warfare. There are a few dates that really inspire all of this story, and the first one is October 9th, 2033. Hurricane Zeta, the world's first Category 6 storm, occurs, displacing millions of people. January 11th, 2034, global food fuel shortages spark a second Great Depression, and August 8th, 2035, the EU officially disbands following Germany's collapse. Millions of people are displaced by fallen nations and band together in a ragtag of fleets in search of safe harbour. They are families, farmers, doctors, engineers and soldiers. They are once privileged and impoverished, with backgrounds that are worlds apart, forced together, determined to survive. The media calls them non-patriated, they call themselves no-pats. 2037 is the start of the new normal. Humanity adapts to the new normal. Revolutions in energy, desert irrigation, hydraulic levees and seawalls save coastal cities, reclaim farmland and rebuild supply chains. Hope of finding stability leads to some nations reopening their borders. However, with no way of repatriating 1.2 billion people, no-pats become a permanent fixture in all economic, military and social policy making. Many no-pats are still distrustive of the governments that exiled them and refuse to re-assimilate. No-pat leaders emerge, inspiring a new identity unbound to former nationality, drawing a line in the sand between the old world and the new normal. The hashtag #WeAreNoPats floats around and becomes a rallying cry. Amidst the world rebuilding, sparks of friction erupt between the US and Russia as the last two superpowers both vie for control of this fast-changing world. Next comes the blackout of 2040. A sudden space debris storm creates a Kessler effect, causing 70% of all orbiting satellites to malfunction and crash to Earth. The cause is unknown. The subsequent blackout causes mass devastation. Planes crash, communication grids collapsed, already jammed global supply chains come to a standstill. Prices of oil, grain and coal skyrocket exponentially. Unsubstantiated claims report over 100,000 lives are lost. A world on the brink goes over the edge. No internet, no navigation, no surveillance and no storm forecast. Geopolitical distrust surges overnight. No one can spy on each other, so no one can trust each other. Both Russia and the US claim the other is responsible for the blackout, while some suspect no-pats were behind it and accuse them of trying to sow anarchy. Former military and combat trained specialists among the no-pats rise up into armed task forces to defend themselves as tension rises. The brink of war. A food and fuel shortage ignites a shadow war between the US and Russia. To maintain plausible deniability, both sides field no-pat task forces as proxies in escalating conflicts over resources, promising the refugees a piece of what is left. In 2042, open war is imminent. No-pats have no choice but to choose sides, fighting not for a flag but for their future. Their war is your story. Now, all of the story will be played out through multiplayer games, and it's going to be very, very exciting. I cannot wait to play some of these storylined matches in multiplayer with my friends, and we'll get into some gameplay. That is completely everything in the story of the game. Next, we'll move on to some maps, and I'll tell you through the backstory of all of them as well. The maps in Battlefield 2042 allow for all new gameplay experiences, with unprecedented scale and choices in gameplay. With the introduction of 128 players on current-gen consoles and PC, each map is specifically designed to provide a unique experience that directly impacts strategy for you and your squad. Battlefields have multiple distinct combat areas housed in a single play space, and this extra space means more variety and more meaningful vehicle gameplay. The first map that I would like to talk about is Orbital. Now this is set in Kourou in French Guiana. It's a race against time and hostile conditions as you fight around the site of an imminent rocket launch. Watch out for both enemy fire and upcoming storms on this dynamic map. Next map is Hourglass, set in Doha, Qatar. Fight in a city lost to the desertification around it. Massive dust and sandstorms are constantly rolling in, blotting out the natural light, as you battle for control of a convoy trapped in the shifting sands. The next map is Kaleidoscope. This is set in Songdo, South Korea, in a state-of-the-art metropolis in South Korea. Zipline between skyscrapers and fight among the plazas surrounding the city's iconic data center. Next we have Manifest. This is set in Brownie Island in Singapore. Watch out for the tropical tornadoes and navigate through the maze-like cargo containers as this key trade location vital to American supply lines. Next map is Discarded. This is set in Alang, India. Along a strategic section of India's west coast, colossal ships have stranded on the beach and are being stripped for parts. Fight among the hulls of these behemoths while adapting to deadly storms. Next we have Breakaway. This is set in Greenland, Antarctica. Tread carefully on this dynamic map where oil extraction has turned the freezing area to a strategic hotspot. Take advantage of the destructible fuel tanks and silos that create debris fields and permanent fires when destroyed. The final map that we have been confirmed so far is Renewal. This is set in the Eastern Desert in Egypt. A giant wall built to secure rich man-made agricultural areas takes center stage on this intense map. Prepare for the extreme conditions, deploy and secure the access points and massive gates in the wall. That is everything that I can say right now from the information that I have personally. If you need to find more information or you want to read more about the next game, I recommend going over to EA's website where you can find all of the information and all of the news about Battlefield 2042. I'm also recommending checking out Westy, Jack Frags, the Tactical Brit and Stoddy's videos on this concept and Battlefield 2042. They have a lot more information than I do because they personally were selected by EA and DICE to be given the information firsthand before anyone else, so please go and check out them as well and subscribe to stay in the loop for the next Battlefield game.